we're going to be talking about sewing machines versus stitchers today. I'm on a stick so I can move around the studio today, but well, I get a lot of people asking, they're brand new to it, but they want to buy a sewing machine. They don't know which to buy. Do they buy a stitcher? How big? What kind of things do they need? All that kind of stuff. So we're going to slowly go through some of the things that I have in my shop, the things that I would recommend depending on what you do with your leather, because you can go from very thin leather like 2-3 ounce all the way up to 15 ounce. So it's all going to depend on you and what you want to do. So we're going to start out with my big one, because this is the one that I would recommend to anybody if they're going to get into saddle repair, heavier leathers, that kind of a thing. And if you're going to be doing anything like that. So I have a machine. You don't have to buy this machine particular. I love this company. They're great customer service. However, I'm going to share a hint with you about big sewing machines and even some of these other sewing machines. So let's get started. I'm going to flip this around and hopefully I can see you guys pretty good. Okay, so this machine here and it has a table. It has the big machine and it is got the foot pedal down there. This one here, this pedal here, excuse my slippers because I'm in the shop. This pedal is to lift your arm and this pedal is to drive it. So, you know, fast or slow. This machine has I believe it's an 18 foot. Oh my God, that would be huge, huge, huge. 18-inch arm. Do you need that big of an arm? We'll explain and talk about that. Okay. Do you need to have this one here has a power, it goes motor. I can't even think, you guys. It has a motor where you can go faster or slower. And definitely if you can do that, that is a must. So I'm working on some projects here, so ignore the mess. So on this machine here, this is a TexSew machine. Now here's the tip that most people do not tell you about these machines. And you're like, well, I want to get a cowboy. I want to get this one. These machines are made in China, and usually they are painted or put the name on. Different companies, same basic machine. So if you want a TexSew, if you want a cowboy, cowboys are brown. They're just going to paint it brown. They're going to slap cowboy on there. Majority of them are like that, okay? The older machines, when you get into the big heavy stitchers, those are different. So you can get into, I don't know, Tippmann has a Boss. Those are small, but there's some big other machines out there. And what you want to do on these machines, so if you're a basic beginner, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so big, it is so cool. But do you need this? So this machine, and I've got to replace some of the threads. So like I said, I'm working on some halters that are going to Europe. So and you can sew leather, you can sew fabrics. I'm sewing webbing on here. I'm sewing all that kind of stuff. But this machine, we're going to talk about the arm first off, okay? The arm, I want a longer arm. I would have even liked a little bit longer arm if you're working with saddle work, because you're going to be moving things around in here and that are pretty big. Say you got a Western saddle fender that you want to move around in there. That would be really, really great, because you can just move it without having to worry it. If that was a 12-inch arm, that would be something that you would want to say, maybe that's not for me for this. Okay, that is why it's really important to know what you're doing. If you're doing small projects like wallets and handbags and things like that, it's not going to matter because they're not huge like that. But when you're going to big saddles or you're doing bigger projects, say you're doing an archery quiver, or you're doing a rifle, you know, I'm going to say lanyards. Oh my gosh, I cannot think today, guys. But if you're doing something like with a rifle, scabbard, anything big like that, then you probably would want a longer arm, okay? So the arm is the basic. You can say, okay, I'm just going to do smaller projects. I just need a 12-inch arm. Now, a 12-inch arm, you got to remember, you think of a ruler, it's probably about right to here. So if you can work in that space, great. It's going to save you some money. I'll tell you that. Okay, it's going to save you some money. And one of the things about this, it does have a walking foot. This is great about this machine. You can put things that are circular. This is not like a patch machine. This only goes up and down. It doesn't turn around. It doesn't do anything like that. Majority of your machines are like that, okay? So you on a patch machine, you can actually, it's a cobbler's machine. You can actually move it around so you can get in all directions. They're usually a little more expensive because of that reason. They're in high demand by us leathersmiths, so you're gonna pay for it. And if you can find one, if that's not shipped across the country, way across the country, all right? So these machines take a variety of needles. You're going to look at the bigger needles, those kind of things. And what I do for myself, so what I do here is I have a chart always there, especially if I'm teaching, and it will tell you all the different needle sizes, threads. It's really, really great. You should get this with your machine. If you're buying a used machine, you probably don't have that. However, you could probably go on their website, like Cowboy's website or whoever's website, and go ahead and get that, okay? They probably have a free one on there for you. If not, just get a general stitching machine. It'll tell you what size, what leathers that you're gonna use, what weight leather, those kind of things for that, okay? So on the arm, it's up to you. It just depends. The smaller the arm, the cheaper it's going to be. Okay, so let's go back to the machine. So you've got your needles. They're going to range from 110 to 280. Oops, sorry about that. So it's going to be about a 110 to 280 on the needle size. You can move this up and down. My thread size that I have in here right now is a 207. Now some machines, when I got this one, I decked it out, okay? So I decked it out with a gauge. So this is really cool. Do you have to have this? No. You can get other gauges, but this will go up to your leather edge so that you can maintain it. Once you're more experienced, you probably don't need it, but if you're doing something very, very professional and you don't want it to move an inch, then that's what you would use. And then you can just pull it out and get it out of the way when you don't need it, okay? So we also have the light. You want sort of an LED type of light there, whether you're just adding it onto the table, whether it's onto the machine itself. I'm going to raise this up and you can see that it's right there and I've got it bent over there. You definitely want to have some type of light to make sure that and the other thing about light, yeah, you can see it better, but you can also see if your tension is perfect. So if your knot is on the top or if your knot is on the bottom, it's not perfect. You got to get that knot in the center, okay? And if you're brand new, you might not know about that, okay? You want a machine definitely 100% with a reverse, okay? Some machines, the reverse will be different, but you do want one. There are machines out there that, believe it or not, don't have a reverse, okay? So you do want to have a reverse. This one also has its own bobbin spinner, so I'll be doing that next. So you put the thread here, goes through here, and then you have the spinner right here to fill your bobbins up. And then again, I love this table, but this is actually your foot pressure. Gotta love my little stitch things. And what that does is it's lifting and lowering that. Everything on the big stitchers are done by your feet, okay? And it's something that you have to learn to do, but it's your professional, your commercial sewing machines as well. Okay. But this one here was purchased through Canada. They do have, if you like the TexSew, they do have an office in California as well. So you can go ahead and order that from California, probably save yourself a lot more money. This machine, now you're gonna decide if you're gonna buy a new machine or if you're gonna buy a used machine. This machine, I decided I wanted a brand new machine. Reason why? I work my ass off all these years, and I knew I needed a better machine, a good machine that I was going to make money with. Okay, so also the other thing, if you're brand new or a beginner, ask yourself, what do I want this machine for? Am I going to be making money with this machine? Is it going to pay for itself, or is this just a hobby? So these machines, brand new, can run $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, depending on, plus your shipping is going to be, it's going to come on a crate, so it's going to be a little bit more. So you have to decide on what you want to do with the machine. Okay, this machine, I knew that I was going to make money with it. I also knew that it needed to pay for itself. How do you pay for your machine itself? Okay, you're a beginner. I just want to get started, but you've got to think ahead a little bit where you want this, what do you want to do with this machine? Because I expected this machine to pay for itself, and it did begin to pay for itself. However, for me to pay for that $6,000, that included the shipping, it had to be running quite a bit. So we didn't get to pay for it. It didn't pay for itself until we started custom working and manufacturing things, and it's already done and paid for itself. So also too, remember, if you're gonna buy a machine as a hobby, great. Remember to keep the receipts for your taxes, because you can write that off as a business expense or a personal expense, depending on what you're doing. If you're in school, you can write that as a school expense. If you're studying fashion, you're studying, I don't know, things for theater, things for the entertainment world, those kind of things you can write that off for, all right? So basic machines, it's really basic. The biggest thing on either machine I'm showing you is learning about your machine, because every machine is different, okay? And what I mean by that is learn how the tension works on the top, learn how the tension works on your bobbin, learn how, you know, your speeds. If you don't have a motor that slows it down, you're gonna have to maybe put some wood blocks underneath your pedal that you're pushing down, because it'll go woo, and then there goes, you know, once you start sewing leather, once you put a hole in it, it's not going to go away. So you want to make sure you keep that speed. A lot of the times I will lower my speed if I want something exactly beautiful. If I'm doing something like these halters, I might speed it up a little bit because I've got many to do, but I also am used to this machine. I know where to put the walking foot, where to put those kind of things. But also too, I know that my tensions are perfect and everything like that, so I can go a little faster with it. And I'm also using webbing, so it's not so stressful on the machine because it can go through those really quick, okay? But this machine is very versatile. In fact, when I bought this machine, I stepped away from my console quite a bit. But the downfall of the bigger machines is that you have to use a bigger needle. So look at your smallest needle for that machine. Ask questions. Don't be afraid, whether it's a new machine or a used machine. Ask questions. What is the smallest needle have you used on this machine? Is that going to work for you or not? If it's not, walk away. It's okay to say no. So is it going to be able to handle the thickness of leather? I wanted to handle almost up to an inch because I work with 10 ounce and above leather a lot of the time. Is it going to be able to have a motor that's going to slow down? Those are about $300-400 depending on where you get them. Ask them if they can have that, or if it doesn't have a motor, can you deduct the price a little bit because you're going to have to get a motor on it. These are things you should be asking. Don't forget, is it a walking foot? Please, please, please. Blum, 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 blum. Ask, is this a walking foot? You do not want a machine that doesn't have a walking foot when you're a beginner and even our advanced students, because you want that to be able to pull through and move on. All right? So those are some of the things that you can ask. Okay? So let's move on to the smaller machines. And there are a million kinds out there, guys. So on the smaller machines, you're going to see Jukis, you're going to see Consos, you're going to see Brothers, you're going to see the old 1950 Singers. Don't disregard those Singers. They are workhorses. The only thing that I would say be careful on, oh, there's Pfaff, there's all kinds of machines out there. But the one thing that I would be researching on, do your due diligence on your research on a used machine, or contact me. I will be happy to answer your questions as much as I know, and if I don't know, I at least know how to research it. You want to ask if our parts are available. I was going to go buy a Pfaff here not too long ago, and I asked my sewing machine repair guy, and he said, yeah, you might want to stay away from Pfaffs a little bit. I said, why? I loved my Pfaff before. I loved it. He goes, yeah, they're great machines, but they're going out of business, and it's going to be really hard to find parts in the future. So maybe the saddle repair, the sewing machine repair people are, taking up parts, so you might not be able to find them. Sort of like the chips for the IT world or your computer world, or they just might not be available, and it might be a hard thing to find. So really ask the questions. Now, when you go to buy a used machine, you want, again, another walking foot. Okay, you need to have that walking foot. It helps you. Okay, you also want to get another motor that slows down, speeds up, that kind of a thing. Some of these older machines don't have it. Make sure that you can add that to a machine, because it's going to save you a lot of headache. I wish I had it earlier in the days. Okay, so let's move on. I have a Conso 226R, and I'm going to show you that. We're going to go around to that now. And I have to, sorry guys, I got to tighten this. I don't know why this. Okay. So this is my 226, okay? It's been a workhorse for me. It was one of the first machines I actually started on, okay? You can see it's much smaller. It's called a tabletop sewing machine, and if you see all my junk here, and it still has the foot pedal, okay? That foot pedal is, again, for your speed control, but it also has this here. This is your lifting of your needle or your foot. You can use it here, or there is one on the back of the machine that you can use. The one thing about this machine, it's great for beginners because it will do your really thin, like calf skin, all the way up to a 1/4 inch. So if you're doing chaps, you're doing anything of that nature, you're doing anything with purses, bags, that kind of a thing, that is going to be really great for this machine. You want to use something like this, a tabletop machine. That most of the machines that you don't have an option of the length of the underneath like that, because that's just the way they're built. Most of the machines were built for clothing, upholstery, those kind of things as well. One of the other things about the machine, the tabletop machine, is that you want to ask them. One of the things about the tabletop machine is you want to ask them if one of the things about the tabletop machine is you want to ask them, is it a walking foot? And is it only a straight stitch? So when you go to look at these machines, sometimes they'll have 2 needles. So you're getting a double thread at the same time. You want 1 needle, and you ask them, is it a walking foot and is it only a straight stitch? The reason why I loved my Pfaff was it had not only a straight stitch, but it had a zigzag. When you're doing horse equipment, especially like sleazies and things like that, and you're repairing horse blankets, that kind of a thing, you need the zigzag stitch sometimes. But most of these machines are not. They are just a straight stitch, okay? So let's take a look at this machine a little bit. Okay, a little bit closer. So you're gonna have your threading system here, and most of the time your threading system, I'm gonna go back over here again, is on the back side of these machines. Whoops, before I knock something over. So the threading system comes down here and it's on the back side, okay? Whereas you go over here, you're on the front side of the machine, okay? This does have a reverse, okay? That is here. You want a reverse. Harley Davidson, a lady who used to repair Harley Davidson, wanted to sell me her, and luckily some intuition part told me no. She wanted to sell me one very similar to this, but it didn't have a reverse on it. And I'm like, I said, and I was new. I'm like, do I need a reverse? She goes, well, over time you will want a reverse, but this one doesn't have it. That's why it's cheap, right? Okay. And so this one here also doesn't have a gauge, you know, to hold down. You can add one. I have this little metal one that I can add if I need it. And I can set this down. It's done by magnets. And you can set it, and there it goes for you, you know, like if you have something that you needed to have an edge to and you didn't want to go back on there. This one doesn't have lighting, but I did add lighting. I haven't lit it up because I don't have it powered up. But you definitely want to do that. Okay. This one is old. It tells you how to, you want to get a manual for these. If you're buying a used one, doesn't have a manual, go to the company's name, put the model number in there and get a manual, because you will need to know several things on how to time it, how to set your tension, your top tension. Your bobbin system is inside here, and this is your tension there. So you may need to know some of these things, okay? This here, this doesn't go with it, whoops, but this is the machine itself. If you have pins, a lot of people will wrap something around and put their pins in there. A lot of quilters do that. I go to the automotive place and get me a thing here and put my pins up here. I put all kinds of stuff up here. My bobbins will go in one of these little guys. Really handy, really handy. This one here has a bobbin setting, or a bobbin spinner, threader, you know, you can, but this is on the outside. So the way you work that is you put your bobbin on here, your thread comes down through here, then it comes and loops around, click this, and then you would hit your speed pedal and let it rock and roll. One thing I'm going to tell you right now, this isn't a teaching thing. This is about your machine, right? One thing, if you're going to do this and make a bobbin, please, wah, 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 please listen to this. Make sure there is no bobbin in here. If you have a bobbin in here, when you go to spin a bobbin, you will be sitting for hours here, digging out thread, getting it uncaught. Sometimes you can't. You're going to have to call your mechanic to get it out, because he has to take the whole thing out. How do I know? Did it when I first got my first machine. So that's one thing that you want to really, really be careful of on that. And on your machines, again, this one does not have a speed thing because I'm used to it, but I will be getting a speed motor. I forgot. Help me out, guys. What is the name of that thing? To lower the speed, because I'm going to be having students on it. So I will not put a student on a machine that doesn't have that. because then I have to put a block underneath the pedal for the speed so that they don't go past a certain speed. But that's over time. So when you get your machines, make sure that you ask those kinds of things. Other things to ask when you're buying a new machine for whatever it is, and again, you can always email me, send me pictures of the machine you're thinking of getting, tell me what you're doing, that kind of a thing, and I can try to answer your questions for you so you don't waste money. This machine here, but you got to remember, I've had it for a long time, but I can usually pick up a machine for $500 to $800, tops $1,200, but I would never spend more than that for this machine. Here's why. Number one, I gotta go pick it up and I gotta have something. These heads are really, really heavy. Let me see if I can show you. Somebody's gonna ask this and I will not have shown it, so I'm gonna do this. So these are extremely heavy machines, okay? So you can, when you have one of these, then what you want to do is, let me go ahead and move this in. Okay, these are extremely heavy. This part is called the head. So if you call a mechanic and say, hey, I've got a commercial sewing machine, can you help me out with it? And he goes, yeah, bring it in. Well, you're not going to pick up the whole table. So these here are what's holding. Oh my gosh, I got too much stuff on my table, guys. These are the two things that are holding it in. So what you would do is just lift it up, okay? You're gonna lift it up and you're gonna see, whoop, that it can come out of there. I'm shaking because I'm trying to get this so that you guys can see it. Okay, and then you can go ahead, and what I do is I put one arm under here and I grab it from here. The other thing is you got to make sure your belt's off. If you don't make sure your belt's off, you're going to really screw yourself over. But this is another way you're going to oil your machine, is because you have to oil all the different moving parts. Okay, but then you would lift this up. Now this is going to be about 50 pounds, okay, maybe even a little bit more, but about 50 pounds when you lift that up. Okay, I'm not going to lift it up because I've had back surgery and I just don't want to do that to my poor back because I'm having issues again. So that is where that is with that machine, okay? The other thing too is that you want to be able to ask someone, when was the last time you used it? When was the last time you used this machine? And was it working properly? And you need to ask them to be honest. You know, just say, hey, I'm new. I don't know about machines. Did you have any problems with it? What was the problem? Oh, or the other thing too is if it is in working order and they have it hooked up, ask them to show you a demo with anything or you bring whatever you are going to work on. Say you're working on some calf skin, bring some scraps with you. Say, can I try this in the machine and see? And if they say, well, no, I haven't had it going for a while, and just say, okay, can you tell me if there's any problems with it? Because here is the thing, I felt bad. So one of my students wanted a machine and my girlfriend passed away and she had like 4 or 5 machines. And so I asked the husband, can I buy one of the machines for one of my students? And he said, yeah. And they had said it was in great working order, which I usually trust them. But when he got it, he wanted to take it to get it serviced just to double check. The excellent student, let me tell you, Sam was an excellent student. But he did, he took it to a local service repair and they told him it needed this, it needed that. So he ended up spending a couple $100, but he also wanted to add something. But I think it needed a new bobbin casing, it needed something else, a couple things, but it cost him almost $200. So when you buy these machines that are used, whether it doesn't matter what company it is, how old it is, because again, these are old steel machines, they're workhorses. They're workhorses. The number one thing that's going to go wrong with them most of the time is the timing on them, because maybe a needle hit and it broke hard, or something happened and the timing got out of whack. Okay, but when you're buying one, the timing should be in place. It should be working order. And I ask, can I sit on it? Can I work on it? And I bring my scraps. And if they have no thread, maybe somebody passed away and they were gifted it or something. Just ask them, okay, I'm going to have to take it to get it serviced to make sure that it's running. Would you take a couple $100 off? Because it will cost you a minimum of $100 to $150 just to take it to have it serviced, because these commercial machines are more expensive. Now, if you find somebody locally that can come to your house or your shop or whatever, like I've got 2 machines, I can take the head in here, but I'm not going to throw my Texo into the car. There's no way I can. So I have to have somebody come. So it just depends on, I'm going to have them kill 2 birds with 1 stone when they come, because it's expensive. So definitely want to do that. Having your machine serviced once a year is really, really great. The number one thing for beginners is make sure you oil these machines properly and often, because the last thing you want to do is have dry parts in your machine, because it wears it down a lot faster. All right. So again, this machine will only do up to a 1/4 inch, maybe even a 1/4 inch of leather. And it also does not like, literally, some of these machines, that's why I say bring scraps. If you have like a calf skin thinness, like a 3 ounce, but then you want to go up to a 4 or 5 ounce, or maybe you're making chaps, bring that with it to see how that machine is acting. If it's acting really, really weird, or you're getting a funny vibe off the owner, like they're not telling you the truth, walk away. Please walk away. There are hundreds and hundreds of machines out there that you can find. If you're in the Portland area, Portland, Oregon area, call me, let me know. I'll give you a fantastic guy who has all kinds of machines in Vancouver. Phenomenal guy, honest guy, works on machines and everything. I trust him wholeheartedly because I bought machines from him. So I think that's all on this, but I'm going to say, if you have any questions from not only this video, but you don't know what kind of machine to buy, and you're like, well, if I buy that one and I want to do this later, should I buy the bigger machine? And you're unsure, message me, call me. I'm a teacher. This is what I do. This is why I'm here on YouTube and my other social medias, so that I can help you save money. Because if you watch my videos, sometimes you'll see Patty's penny pinching corner, because I don't want you to waste money. Leather can be expensive, but it can be fun. It can be rewarding. I can teach you how to use these machines for business, how to depreciate your machines, things of that nature for your taxes. So if you're just doing it for a hobby, a new craft or whatever, I hope this was really helpful. But don't forget to go and watch my other videos on the YouTube channel, The Leather Lady LLC. Or if you're into saddlery, if you do the @ and saddle repair and restoration, those are for the serious people that want to learn about saddle repairs and restoration. I'm sort of separating those. And we have some new things coming for 2026, so I need to keep those separated. So don't be afraid. I'm here to teach you, and I'm here to help you. And if you are seasoned about machines, definitely pipe in and make a comment. I don't know everything, and we always learn from everybody. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope it was helpful and you were able to either share it with your friends, learn something, or hopefully watch more of our videos. Please don't forget to go to theleatherladyllc.com for any of your supplies for saddlery. We do sell parts and things of that nature, along with sheepskin products. Just go on there and peek, and you'll see all kinds of special things. Also, don't forget, we do have a YouTube channel just for saddlery, and it is called Saddle Repair and Restoration. Subscribe, like, and share to our channels. It helps support us, and we greatly appreciate it so very much.